الله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء فاتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد. Today, inshallah, we are supposed to discuss the Sufiya today as one of those deviant groups that came up as a result of the Furqa division that came up in the Ummah. We are always mentioning the Khawarij, the Mu'tazila, the Murji'ah, and all these, the Shia and their misguidance away from the path of Sunnah. But we had not discussed the Sufiya. So that was why we thought, inshallah, we'll look at Sufiya in the old and in the present. And one of the most popular Sufi groups that people have not been aware of their Sufiya, the Jama'atul Tabligh. But some matters have come up regularly, repeatedly in the last 2 weeks. I remember we were discussing about 2-3 weeks ago, and one of the brothers, I mentioned the hadith of Shu'batul Iman, that al-imanu bid'un wa sab'una shu'bah. And one of the brothers said Sittun. I said no, Sittun is not authentic. So he's surprised. We are all surprised, because Bid'un wa Sittun occurs in Sahih Bukhari. So why do we say it's not authentic? So we'd like to discuss this matter inshallah today, and read to us what the scholars have said about the issue of, is it Bid'un wa Sittun, is it Bid'un wa Sittun, or Bid'un wa Sab'un, أو بدء وستون أو بدء وسبعون. What has been reported from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Because Al-Imam Muslim alayhi rahmatullah reported bid'un wa sab'un. Imam Bukhari in Sahih Bukhari reported bid'un wa sittun. That is, Iman has 70 aspects. That is bid'un wa sab'un. But in Sahih Bukhari, bid'un wa sittun, that Iman has 60 aspects. And they are all being ascribed to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the problem, the matter is more problematic because it has only one. This kind of a hadith is referred to as Garibul Mutlaq. Garibul Mutlaq is the hadith that it has a single beginning. No two companions reported this hadith. Nobody reported it from amongst the companions except Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu. And nobody reported it from Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu except Abu Salih Zakwan Az-Zayyat. Is the only one who reported it from Abu Hurairah. And from him, nobody reported from him except Abdullah ibn Amr, except Abdullah ibn Dinar. So Abdullah ibn Dinar reported from Zakwan Az-Zayyat, Abu Salih, and he reported from Abu Hurairah. So how then could it have been that it is 60 and then it is 70 when the aslu is the same? There is certainly ittirab here. So this is the first issue inshallah I would like to raise. More especially, some of the scholars like Al-Imam Al-Bayhaqi have said that the report of 60 is weak. while some say no, it is the report of 70 that is weak. So what is really the case? What is ar-riwayatul rajiha wa riwayatul marjuha? Which report is most preponderant and which one is less preponderant of the two reports? So more especially these reports occur in Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. The second issue we like to talk about inshallah today is the issue of intikhab, voting. When it was mentioned last week, we found some discomfort in the eyes of some of us, as if it had never been said that voting is not from the issues of the Sharia. So today inshallah I would like to mention about 7 reasons. One of the scholars mentioned 17 reasons. We like to mention only 7 from these 17 why voting is not from the Sharia, and also give some little explanations regarding the matters that are connected to voting inshallah. The third issue that had come up between the last class and today, and that's been repeatedly discussed, is the issue of marrying a minor in the Sharia. Is it permissible that someone marries a little young girl that has not matured? If it is permissible, how? Because the issue has been discussed. Somebody married a young girl. Some people say no, he gave $100,000 as mahar. How can you marry a girl and give $100,000 as mahar? As if it is too much. This money is too much. There are poor people, so because there are poor people, he should not have married a woman with 100,000 naira mahar. What is the basis? Do all these things have any basis at all in the Sharia? Because you do not blame a man if he does anything that is within the confines of the Sharia. If it's within the confines, if it's outside the Sharia, you see what he has done, the Sharia does not like it. Allah is displeased with it. But when what he has done is within the Sharia, then we find no basis really to blame such a person that what he has done is wrong. Some people say no, he divorced one wife before he married another woman. Is that also permissible in the Sharia? Wow, how does the Sharia? We are not talking about how people view things, because this is the essence of the Sharia. The Sharia has come to unify mankind. That's why he said subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَلَوْ اتَّبَعَ الْحَقُّ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ لَفَسَدَتِ السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ وَمَنْ فِيهِنْ. If the truth were in consonance with the desire of each and every person, the whole heavens and the earth will go asunder. If what you want is the truth, what he wants is the truth, what he wants is the truth, so who will rule what? What will rule where? There will be confusion all around the earth. So Allah brought the Sharia to unify us. So he says, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. This habl of Allah is his Sharia, upon which we are all to grasp. When you grasp upon the Sharia, you leave your opinion for the Sharia. I leave my opinion for the Sharia. She leaves hers, he leaves his, you leave yours. Then there will be uniformity amongst mankind. So the Sharia has come to unify mankind, make man drop their desires for that for which Allah, their Lord and their Creator, who loves them all, has given them as a way of life. So then we will find peace. We will know what to blame a person for and what not to blame a person for. We'll hope inshallah we will try to be as fast as possible and as brief as possible. Perhaps at question time other aspects that we may not mention, because each of this discussion itself suffices for a full discussion. So we pray Almighty Allah to make us understand better than it will be explained inshallah. The first issue is the issue of the hadith. Al-imanu bid'un wa sab'una shu'bah. He said alayhi salatu wassalam, a'laha or afdaluha la ilaha illallah. Qawlu la ilaha illallah. That iman has 70 some aspects. Some 70 aspects. It's better to say 70 some. Bid'un wa sab'un. Bid'un wa sab'un is used for between 3 and 9. So you have 3, you have 5, you have 7, you have 9. So when you say bid'un wa sab'un, imma ida, that could mean 73 or 75 or 77, as the Arabs use that word bid'un. So he said alayhi salatu wasalam that al-imanu bid'un wa sab'una shu'bah. He says a'laha or afdaluha, the best of it is qawlu la ilaha illallah. the saying that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah. He says, وَأَدْنَاهَا إِمَاطَةُ الْأَذَى عَنِ الطَّرِيقِ. The least aspect of Iman is to remove harmful thing from the road of the people. To remove a harmful thing is from Iman. And he said, Al-Haya'u shu'batu min al-Iman. Shyness is an aspect of Iman. So 3 things. The importance of this hadith. The importance of this hadith is so great because it proves a lot of things. The first thing that it proves is that actions are from Iman. Because it says that adnaha imatatul adha anit tariq. The lowest aspect of Iman is to remove harmful things from the road. So removing harmful things from the road is what? Is an action. So it means an action could be from Iman. Just like Salah is from Iman. All of those actions in Salah, Ruku, Sujud, they are from acts of Iman. That's why bil ijma' the ulama says that what Allah says that وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُضِيعَ إِيمَانَكُمْ, that imanakum means what? Salatakum. That Allah does not intend by the change of the Qibla, He does not intend to waste your Salah that you had been performing while you face Jerusalem, while you face Baytul Maqdis. He does not intend to destroy that Salah. So that's what وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُضِيعَ. He was not going to, it does not intend to destroy your Salah. So ulama say وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُضِيعَ إِيمَانَكُمْ is وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُضِيعَ صَلَاتَكُمْ. Salat is from Iman. So this hadith is evidence that actions are from aspects of Iman. Then it says قَوْلُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Qawl, statement. That from Iman also is what you say. So it is obligatory that somebody must utter the statements of Iman. So it says قَوْلُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ أَعْلَاهَا. So a person can't have Iman without saying Iman, without uttering the statements of Iman. If he does not utter the statements of Iman, but he says that he has Iman in his heart, he is behaving like the Munafiqun, or like the Jews. The Munafiqun, their case is the other way. They say the statements of Iman, but in their hearts they don't have Iman. So their case is like the case of the Jews. But even Fir'aun knew that the Lord of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, subhanahu wa ta'ala, is Allah Rabbul Alameen. But he refused it. He never uttered the statement of Iman. And when he wanted to utter the statement of Iman, Jibril alayhi salatu wasalam prevented him from doing so. So he stuffed his mouth with the sand from the seabed and did not allow him to say it. He said, because if he said it, he may be forgiven. He may be forgiven. He said, so I prevented him from saying it because he had said, Ana Rabbukumul A'la. That statement, he must be punished for it. So Fir'aun knew in his heart that Allah is one and is the one that deserves worship. But he didn't say it with his heart, with his tongue. He did not utter it out. So it is obligatory that anyone who believes the statements of Iman, he must say it with his mouth. Iman must be uttered with our mouth. So this hadith is evidence for that. That a'laha, the greatest aspect of Iman, is qawlu, to say La ilaha illallah. That is to say as the words of Iman, as this hadith has indicated. And that he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, that wal haya'u shu'batun min al iman. That al haya, shyness or bashfulness, is an aspect of Iman. So this makes us understand that bashfulness occurs is from the a'malul qalbiyah, is from the heart-related acts of worship. Al haya, like tawakkul. Tawakkul also is from the heart-related acts of worship. So it makes us understand that Iman is a thing of the heart, a thing of the tongue, and a thing of what? The limbs. So these aspects, this hadith makes us understand that. So it's a very important hadith. And because it is a thing of the limbs, and of the mouth, and of the tongue, and human beings vary in the way they act upon these things. Two people may pass on the road. Once the two of them saw a harmful thing on the road, one may remove it, the other may not care. The one who has removed it has perfected his Iman in that aspect than the other one who has not removed it. So in respect to aspects of worship, we vary. The way we'll be doing these things, the way a person, the number of La ilaha illallah that each of us has said today is not equal. So that means our Iman will not be equal. The number of good deeds we have done with our actions, the number of nawafil some of us have performed today cannot be the same. Some of us may not have performed any nafil today. and it's from actions. So the hadith is also a pointer that al-imanu yazidu wa yankus, because we'll be doing these things differently. The same thing, our haya, we are not all bashful in the same to the same degree. Our bashfulness as we are here is different. Some of us here will still see somebody say, hi, this brother is very shy, he's a very bashful person. We are not all shy equally. So it means we are not all having the same level of iman. And this is the position of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, that al-imanu yazidu bit-ta'a wa yankusu bil-ma'siyah. That iman increases when you act upon goodness, you obey Allah, and it reduces when there is an act of sin. So this is the importance of this hadith. As such, it is important that we know what has really been reported. Have they said, has he said, the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, has he said al-imanu bid'un wa sab'una shu'bah, or has he said al-imanu bid'un wa sittuna shu'bah? What did he say alayhi salatu wasalam? As we mentioned earlier, nobody has reported this hadith from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam except Hafizul Ummah, Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu. And from him, Abu Salih al-Zayyat has reported from him. Abu Salih al-Zayyat is one of the closest students of Abu Hurairah, but he reported the hadith alone. He was said to have been in the house on the day Uthman bin Affan was killed. So it was said that any day Uthman was mentioned when he was alive, he would be crying. Zakwan al-Zayyat, Abu Salih, you mention Uthman, you'll be crying, remembering that day. And we also remember that Abu Hurairah was amongst them that day too. Those companions who stood guide for Uthman bin Affan before those insurgents came in and killed Uthman bin Affan. So he is reported to be a very learned student of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu. There is a point of benefit in the life of Zakwan al-Zayyat, Abu Salih. And that is the fact that he is referred to as Zayyat because he used to take zayt. He used to take oil. He is al-Madani, from Medina to Kufa to sell. And he is reported to be Kasirul Buka. He cries a lot. Al-Imam Sulaiman ibn Mihran al-A'mash, he reported that one day in their masjid, their imam did not come. So they asked Al-Imam Zakwan al-Zayyat to lead the salah. They said he was hardly able to complete the salah. لِكَسْرَةِ بُكَائِهِ, because he was always crying in the salah. Yet this one did not prevent him from going to sell his oil to earn money. This is the point of reference. That somebody attempts to be pious and holy, so to speak, it does not prevent him from seeking legitimate means of livelihood. It's very, very important. And aside that, he had 3 of his children from the greatest scholars of hadith. From them is Suhail ibn Abi Salih. Suhail has 2 brothers, Abdullah ibn Abi Salih and Salih himself ibn Abi Salih. So he has 3 children, 3 males from the scholars of hadith. So he himself, alhamdulillah, a pious follower of the companions, and then a regularly, worshipping person. And then he was involved in what to get himself what to eat. So that somebody's pious does not say that he should not attempt to get legitimate means of survival. And that is from the best ways of feeding our mouths. By that a man does so by what he earns from his hands. So this hadith was reported from him by Abdullah ibn Dinar. Abdullah ibn Dinar also is a very learned companion of the companion, because he is Mawla Abdullah ibn Umar. Abdullah ibn Dinar, his brother is Amr ibn Dinar, but Abdullah ibn Dinar is from the freed slaves of Abdullah ibn Umar, the companion radiyallahu anhuma. And that was why from the students of Nafi' also was Abdullah ibn Dinar. He took also from Nafi, because Nafi is said to be closer to Abdullah ibn Umar than Abdullah ibn Dinar. So Abdullah ibn Dinar in this case has reported this hadith from a tabi'i. So in this report we have 2 tabi'is. Tabi'i, the first tabi'i is the one who reported from Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, and that is who? Zakwan al-Zayyat. The one from whom who reported from Zakwan was Abdullah ibn Dinar. He is also a tabi'i, but he has also reported from a fellow tabi'i who has the report. He didn't have the report. And nobody reported from, as Al-Imam ibn Rajab al-Hanbali has said in his Sharh of Sahih Bukhari, Fath al-Bari, that nobody has reported this hadith from Abu Hurairah except Zakwan al-Zayyat. And nobody has reported this hadith from Zakwan except what? Abdullah ibn Dinar. So this hadith is the one that is referred to as what? Garibul Mutlaq. So the Garaba comes from the asl of the hadith. But from Abdullah ibn Dinar, about 5 scholars have reported the hadith. The first of those who reported the hadith, or one of them, is Suhail ibn Abi Salih. Ulama, al-Imam ibn Rajab again, he said, Suhail didn't hear this hadith from his father. He heard it from who? Abdullah ibn Amr. Abdullah ibn Dinar. So Abdullah ibn Dinar reported from the father of Suhail. So Suhail heard this hadith from Abdullah ibn Dinar. Aside Suhail ibn Abi Salih, we have Muhammad ibn Ajlan. He is also from the scholars of hadith. Imam al-Bukhari has mentioned some ahadith about him in his Sahih. Though he is referred to, ulama says Hasan al-Hadith, Saduq Hasan al-Hadith is not thiqah, because of some of the things that happened, and especially regarding the ahadith of Abu Huraira. Al-Imam al-Hafiz ibn Hajar said, rahimahullah, that who was Saduq? The Saduq, those who are referred to as Saduq are those whose reports are Hasan, and that he has ikhtilafat fi ahadith Abi Huraira. When yakhtalif fi ahadith Abi Huraira, he has ikhtilaf, he contradicts more reliable reporters regarding the hadith of Abu Huraira, and this is one of them. So it's one of them, Muhammad ibn Ajlan. We also have Abdul Rahman ibn Abdullah ibn Dinar. This is the son of Abdullah ibn Dinar. He reported the hadith. We also have Yazid ibn Abdullah ibn al-Hadi. He also reported from Abdullah ibn Dinar. And we have Sulaiman ibn Bilal. Sulaiman ibn Bilal also reported from Abdullah ibn Dinar. So we have about 5 of them or 6 of them. If we read Fathul Bari, Al-Hafiz ibn Hajar didn't mention Yazid ibn Abdullah ibn al-Hadi, and he did not mention Abdullah ibn Abdul Rahman ibn Abdullah ibn Dinar. Those who have mentioned it was the one who has mentioned it is Imam al-Hafiz ibn Rajab in Sharh of Sahih Bukhari's Fathul Bari. So it's likely you go and check Fathul Bari of Al-Hafiz, despite the fact that he mentioned chains of narrations of this hadith, and it is not found there. And Imam Badruddin al-Aini also mentioned it in his Umdatul Qari. So these are those who have reported this hadith from Abdullah ibn Dinar. In his discussion on this hadith, Al-Imam ibn Rajab alayhi rahmatullah said that وَقَدْ ذَكَرَ, we said about 4 or 5 persons: Suhail ibn Abi Salih, Muhammad ibn Ajlan, Abdul Rahman ibn Abdullah ibn Dinar, Sulaiman ibn Bilal, and then Yazid ibn Abdullah ibn al-Hadi. 5 people from Abdullah ibn Dinar. So Imam al-Uqayli alayhi rahmatullah, one of the scholars of hadith, he says, Imam ibn Rajab referred to him saying that وَقَدْ ذَكَرَ الْأُقَيْلِيُّ أَنَّ أَصْحَابَ Abdullah ibn Dinar ala thalath tabaqat. Al-Imam al-Uqayli has said that the students of Abdullah ibn Dinar, they are in 3 levels. He says the first of them is Athbat, the most reliable amongst them, Kamalikin wa Shu'bata wa Sufyan ibn Uyayna. So like Al-Imam Malik, Imam Shu'bah ibn al-Hajjaj, and Imam Sufyan ibn Uyayna. And then he said the second level, they are the Mashayikh. Those are those who are not as strong as the first level of reporters. He says Kasuhailin, like Suhail ibn Abi Salih, wa Yazid ibn al-Hadi, that's Yazid ibn Abdullah ibn al-Hadi, wa Muhammad ibn Ajlan. So you see 3 of them, they are from the Mashayikh. He says Qala, Imam ibn Rajab is quoting Imam al-Uqayli. He says وَفِي رِوَايَتِهِمْ أَنْ عَبْدِ اللَّهِ ibn Dinar اضطراب. وَفِي رِوَايَتِهِمْ يعني رِوَايَةِ الْمَشَايِخ, those second in the degree like Suhail, like Yazid ibn al-Hadi, like Ibn al-Ajlan, he says وَفِي رِوَايَتِهِمْ أَنْ عَبْدِ اللَّهِ ibn Dinar اضطراب. Their narrations from Abdullah ibn Dinar is regularly confronting and contradictory. They will report one narration but in 2 forms that are contradictory. This makes us understand the statement of Ibn Rajab that the ittirab actually came from the shak that al-imanu bid'un wa sittun aw bid'un wa sab'un actually came from Suhail ibn Abi Salih. But this statement makes us understand that not him alone does so regarding the narrations of Abdullah ibn Dinar. He does so
Yazid ibn Abdullah ibn al-Hadi does so. Muhammad ibn Ajlan also does so. So we are left with Sulaiman ibn Bilal. And like some of the scholars have said, that's why Al-Imam al-Bukhari chose the riwayah of Sulaiman ibn Bilal. So we are left with the riwayah of Sulaiman ibn Bilal amongst those who have reported the hadith, and Abdul Rahman. But the riwayah of Abdul Rahman has some other things regarding which the scholars have said. So we drop the riwayah of Abdul Rahman, the son of Abdullah ibn Dinar. So we have these reports, and we have remaining the riwayah of Sulaiman ibn Bilal, because those of Suhail and Yazid and Muhammad ibn Ajlan are always mudtariba. They are riwayats. He says, waqala, he said again, Al-Imam Ibn Rajab, and this is the area of problems too, that inna hadha al-hadith lam yutabi' haula mashayikh alayhi ahadun min al-athbat. Ibn Rajab alayhi rahmatullah says, inna hadha al-hadith, this hadith, lam yutabi' haula al-mashayikh alayhi ahadun min al-athbat. None of the most reliable from those who report from Abdullah ibn Dinar has reported this hadith, aside these mashayikh, Suhail, Yazid, and Muhammad ibn Ajlan. He says, and Abdullah ibn Dinar, that nobody has reported from Abdullah ibn Dinar except these mashayikh. This was why also Al-Imam Ibn Rajab gave preponderance to the riwayah of Suhail. He gave preponderance to the riwayah of Sulaiman ibn Bilal, which is the report of Al-Imam al-Bukhari. Because Ibn Rajab is from amongst those who said what is correct is sittun, bid'un wa sittun. And bid'un wa sittun is the riwayah of Sulaiman ibn Bilal. Because he has said that the riwayah of other than Sulaiman ibn Bilal is mudtariba. They have ittirab in their riwayat from Abdullah ibn Dinar. Suhail has ittirab in his riwayat. Yazid ibn Abdullah has. Muhammad ibn Ajlan has. Of course, Abdullah, let's mention that too. Abdurrahman ibn Abdullah also has. لأنه روى أيضا بالشك. He also reported with shak, saying sittun aw sab'un. So his riwayah is in the category for this hadith of those Suhail and Yazid and Muhammad ibn Ajlan. The only one who does not have any problem as far as this tabaqah is concerned from amongst those who has reported this hadith is Sulaiman ibn Bilal, and that is the riwayah we are going to find in Sahih Bukhari. We are also going to find it in Sahih Muslim, but we'll come down a little bit inshallah. So from Sulaiman ibn Bilal, 3 persons have reported from Sulaiman ibn Bilal. The first one is Bashar ibn Umar. In Fath al-Bari, Al-Hafiz ibn Hajar says he is Bashar ibn Amr. But in his book again, Taqrib al-Tahzib, he says Bashar ibn Umar. Allahu alam with the one that is most authentic. I did not have the opportunity to check. We can check further and confirm. Is it Bashar ibn Umar or Bashar ibn Amr? Bashar ibn Amr also reported with shak from Sulaiman. So he said bid'un wa sittun or bid'un wa sab'un. So his report is one side too. Also we have Yahya al-Himmani. Yahya al-Himmani, Shaykh al-Albani alayhi rahmatullah, regarding him said fihi da'af. So his report is also set aside. The third person who has reported from Sulaiman ibn Bilal is Abu Amir al-Aqadi. Abu Amir al-Aqadi also, he reported 2 separate reports. He has 2 groups of those who have reported from him. The first person who reported from him is Abu Ja'far Abdullah ibn Muhammad al-Musnadi, and this is the person from whom Imam Bukhari reported. He said al-imanu bid'un wa sittun. Also from who? From Abu Amir. And Abu Amir was reporting from who? Sulaiman ibn Bilal. The second people who reported from Abu Amir were 2 of the scholars too, Abdullah ibn Sa'id al-Sarkhasi and Abd ibn Humayd, Sahib al-Musnad, Musnad al-Humayd. So these 2 people reported, their report is collected by Imam Muslim, and they said that al-imanu bid'un was sab'un. So these 2 said al-imanu bid'un was sab'un, and Abu Ja'far said that al-imanu bid'un was sittun. So it means Abu Amir al-Aqadi has two reports. One report from him, no shak. One report from him is saying al-imanu bid'un wa sittun. That's the report in Bukhari. One is saying al-imanu bid'un wa sab'un. That is the report in Sahih Muslim. So the ulama say we are not going to say there is ittirab here, because tarjih is possible. Tarjih is giving preponderance to a report. Two of the scholars say that two of the thiqat says that he is reported to have said that al-iman bid'un wa sab'un. That's the report in Sahih Muslim. So Shaykh al-Albani alayhi rahmatullah says it means this is a riwayatul rajiha, because there are two, and the person who has reported sittun is one from the same source. One said he said bid'un wa sittun, the other one said, the two others said that he said bid'un wa sab'un, and that is the report in Sahih Muslim. So he made tarjih of the report of Abd ibn Humayd and Abdullah ibn Sa'id al-Sarkhasi over the report of Abu Ja'far in Sahih Bukhari. So he said this is the most reliable report, that al-imanu bid'un wa sab'un, because that is what has been reported by the most preponderant among those who have reported the hadith. And that is the report in Sahih Muslim. It means that any other report that will be found must be a tabi' for this report, will be like a mutaba'ah for this report. If we find anybody reporting anything, he will be making imma a tabi' for Sulaiman ibn Bilal, or he will be becoming a tabi' for Abu Amir al-Aqadi, or he will be becoming a tabi' for any of these people, as the case may be, depending on the tabaqah where that kind of a report is found. So what we hold on our hands is that al-imanu bid'un wa sab'una shu'bah. This is a report from Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, that Abu Salih al-Zayyat Zakwan reported from him, that Abdullah ibn Dinar reported from him, that Sulaiman ibn Bilal reported from him, and that Abu Amir al-Aqadi reported from Sulaiman ibn Bilal, and that Ubaydullah ibn Sa'id al-Sarkhasi and Abd ibn Humayd reported from Abu Amir al-Aqadi, and Al-Imam Muslim reported from them. And that's why Imam Muslim made this report the first in his Sahih when he talked about this hadith. Al-Imam al-Hafiz al-Waqt Shaykh al-Albani alayhi rahmatullah, he said we can come back to the reports of Suhail, because the reports of Suhail are in three forms. Imam Sufyan ibn Uyayna has reported from Suhail ibn Abi Salih that Suhail reported to him that the Prophet said alayhi salatu wasalam, as we have the isnad above, that al-imanu bid'un wa sab'una shu'bah. It's a separate report. That is the report of Sufyan ibn Uyayna from Suhail ibn Abi Salih. We see that it conforms with the other report we had established. This report of Sufyan ibn Uyayna, in the same manner Al-Imam Hamad ibn Salama has reported it from Suhail ibn Abi Salih. That Suhail ibn Abi Salih said that Al-Imanu bid'un wa sab'una shu'bah. We see again that it conforms with the other report. But in this case, Sufyan and Hamad will be having the mutaba'ah for Abu Amir, but it's like there's taqsir there, there's qasira, because they didn't take from the same sheikh, but they take from people of the same tabaqah. Bilal ibn Sulaiman on the other hand, and on the other hand Suhail ibn Abi Salih. So, but this report will be confirming the other reports. The third kind of report that has come, the second kind of report that has come from Suhail is the report of Shak by Jarir ibn Abdul Hamid. He said Suhail said bid'un wa sittun aw bid'un wa sab'un. In this level too, it means Suhail reported different forms. Sometimes he reported sab'un, sometimes he reported sab'un or sittun. And here also two from the greatest scholars of hadith, generally speaking, Sufyan ibn Uyayna and Hamad ibn Salama, has reported sab'un. So tarjih is also possible for this riwayah of Suhail. So it is possible to say that Suhail actually reported sab'un and not sittun, because two of his students said he reported to us sittun, no shak, sab'un, no shak, and one of them, Jarir ibn Abdul Hamid, said he reported what? sittun aw sab'un. So it means it is possible to still do a tarjih of the report of Sufyan ibn Uyayna and Hamad ibn Salama over that of Jarir ibn Abdul Hamid. And that will be that report of sab'un will be given preponderance over the report of sittun. And that will be in conformance with the report of Abu Amir al-Aqadi from Sulaiman ibn Bilal. I hope this thing is clear. Allahu Alam. So that is the reason why the scholars have given preponderance for the riwayah of sab'un. This is the report. This is what most of the scholars of hadith have said. Like Al-Imam Al-Hulaymi, like Imam Nawawi, like Imam Qadi Iyad, and then at the end of them, Shaykh Al-Albani alayhi rahmatullah have mentioned that. If you look at the books like Umdatul Qari of Imam Badruddin Al-Aini, you will be able to see this Jamul Asanid and the Sharh Sahih Bukhari of Imam Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali. If you look at it again with that of Imam al-Hafiz ibn Hajar in Fath al-Bari, you'll be able to put this together, and then if you look at Silsilatu Ahadith al-Sahiha, you put this together, inshallah, you'll have this result. That what is correct from the Prophet, riwayatan, is that al-imanu bid'un wa sab'una shu'bah. That was why that day when the brother says situna shu'bah, I say no, I said sab'un. Because what is reported, what is correct as far as reporting is concerned, is that al-imanu bid'un wa sab'una shu'bah. A'laha qawlu la ilaha illallah wa adnaha imatatul adha anit tariq wal haya'u shu'batun min al-iman. I think inshallah this suffices for that hadith as far as the issue of is this sittun, is this sab'un is concerned. So the correct report about this is the report in Sahih Muslim by Al-Imam Muslim that Al-Imanu bid'un wa sab'una shu'bah. The report of Al-Imam Al-Bukhari in Sahih Bukhari that Al-Imanu bid'un wa sittun, the ulama refer to it as riwayatun marjuha, and they refer to that in Sahih Muslim as what? Riwayatur rajiha, the one that is most preponderant. Allahu A'lam. The second matter is on intikhab or intikhabat, voting. That the Sharia does not consider voting as one of the ways of voting by, I don't mean selection, because from the meanings of vote or voting is to select. So we select. Even the fact that Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu was made a Khalifa is by selection or appointing. These are the synonyms of that word vote. But the vote we mean here is the way we know it in democratic processes, that a person comes out, ushers himself, presents himself for an electoral position, and then he campaigns and presents himself, and then he says, please vote for me. Perhaps there is a electoral body who in charge of the elections. He contests elective posts. He is voted by every person who has attained suffrage, 18 years I think, and who is a registered person to vote. And then he has a party, political party, that campaigns for him, that supports him financially and morally against the other party, and all of this. So it is this voting in this context that we are talking about. It is not known in the Sharia. It's not permissible in the Sharia. And like we said, some of the scholars have mentioned very many reasons. Someone wrote a whole book on why voting is wrong, and in it he brought about 21 or so reasons why voting is not part of the Sharia. From these 21 we just count about 7 with the verses appropriately and narrations from the Prophet ﷺ that shows that the voting procedure as we have it today is not from the Sharia of Islam. The first reason that he gave, Hafizahullah, is still alive, is that يسبب الاختلاف وتفرق المذموم. Voting يسبب الاختلاف. It causes differences amongst the Muslims and division that the Sharia has prohibited. This is what voting does. Because any person who wants to contest an electoral position now, perhaps, let's give a practical example. Maybe it's in the PDP or CPC. So, there are Muslims in CPC, there are Muslims in the PDP. It has divided the Muslims along those party lines. Even when we had NRCSDP, the Muslims were divided on the two sides. Muslims. And their being divided has been prohibited by Allah. But what has brought about that division is the search for the voting for electoral positions. So it divides them. And Allah had said that innamal mu'minuna ikhwa. The Muslims are a single brotherhood. He said wa'tasimu bihablillahi jami'an wa la tafarraqu. He said hold on firmly onto the rope of Allah. Do not be divided. So people could say, oh, the Muslims can form a party. If it were possible that in Nigeria, for example, case study, all the Muslims say they want to form a party, all the Christians say they want to form a party, there will not be democracy. They will say, no, it's against democratic ideals. Because democracy is to break the lines of religion. Islam is to establish division along religious lines. Islam wants to establish division along religious lines. That's why it says, lakum dinukum waliyadin. We have our deen, they have their deen. Democracy say no, break it. The Muslims and the kuffar, mushrikun, all of them together on one hand. Muslims, kuffar, mushrikun on another hand. Muslims, kuffar, mushrikun, useless people, juhal, one part. Like that. Mix all the useless people and the good people and differently. So if you say no, but Muslims can form a party, when the day the Muslims form a party, the Christians form a party, thought that nobody is on either of the sides except someone that believes in that, that's a believer in that religion, they will say there is no democracy there. Even in cases where you still have Muslims, but you have more active Muslims forming a party, they dissolve the elections. Isn't that what we had in Algeria in 1993? The same June 12th, Islamic Salvation Front. They say no, we don't want that. Because they see some Muslims here, some Muslims there, but they feel that these Muslims here are more serious than these Muslims, and these Muslims call it is Islam. It means it is not Islam that they want. It also means even if you bring that Islam along democratic platforms, it will not be accepted. So the actual enemy is Islam, not the Muslims. The Muslims could be stupid people. The Muslims could be anybody. So leave Muslims, but throw away their Islam. And once you derobe a Muslim of his Islam, what is left? It is that stupidity we are talking about. So it will divide the Muslims. There is nowhere there is voting except the Muslims are divided. The last elections we had that saw in the last president, Omar Musa Yar'Adua, that is dead now, may Allah forgive him his sins and make his illness a means of purifying him. He's a Muslim and he owes us this responsibility. The one who does not pray for him and who is in a position to pray for him, he is owing Yar'Adua that responsibility. That he will ask him on the day of Qiyamah. Well, you owed me to pray for me, you didn't. If there are nobody who was going to bury Yar'Adua, all the Muslims will be sinning. So because some of them have done it, then Sakata and El-Baki. So the rest of us, we are free. Else, we all will have responsibility to bury him. I was really sad last Friday. I was in a clinic. So as I was ushered into the client's waiting room, I saw a AIT. They showed a brother. He's someone that I know. He is a very young brother. He's talking about something, Allahu Alam bihi. But what I came to meet was that they were telling him that Yar'Adua was dead. He should pray for. And he started laughing. He should pray for Yar'Adua. He started laughing. You don't laugh during condolence. It's from the innovation song. You go to a condolence and start laughing. The past predecessor used to frown at somebody who is laughing when there is issues of janaza and death of a person. He's laughing. So he say, Allahumma nawwir qalbahu, Allahumma nawwir qabrahu. Allahumma is saying and he's laughing. You don't laugh when you make such dua. So we have a duty to pray for him. So when that election took place, it was the Muslims against the Muslims. One Muslim, even if he's a Sufi, the other Muslim too, is a Muslim too. But the fact we are trying to establish here is that the voting process has divided the Muslims. And it had people who are conflicting. Muslims we are conflicting. Allahu Akbar. I remember another brother here, Abdul Rahman, he's dead now. May Allah forgive him too. He broke his hand that day. That was the first time I was talking to him. He broke his hand. The police, he went to a place, said they rigged election. The police carried him, they beat him, broke his hand. He was tying perhaps some of us saw him then. He was tying I said, brother, what happened? They said they beat me. They want to rig election. I said they should not rig it. I said, so did they rig it? And they said they rig it after they finished beating me. May Allah forgive him too. So this is the democracy they are talking about, and this is the kind of divisions. Don't be surprised that police who will beat him that day and then rig the election could still be a Muslim. So the voting procedure divides the Muslims along party lines, and Allah has prohibited division amongst Muslims. The second evil of this procedure is that al-hirsu wat-tanafusu ala talabil imara. Al-hirs, people making haste towards something. Wat-tanafus, and contesting and competing ala talabil imara, to earn the leadership. You want to be leader, he wants to be leader, he wants to be leader. And the Sharia has prohibited that. The Sharia prohibits that a person comes to say, make me the leader. There's a hadith in Bukhari and Muslim and Sunan Imam Nawawiy-Hadith, Sunan al-Sughra, that some Ash'ariyun came with Abu Musa al-Ash'ari to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This hadith has a lot of benefits in it. Al-Imam Nawawiy brought it when he was talking about the sunnah of siwak, and that you can make siwak, you can rinse your teeth in front of people. He said because that day when those people came, the Ash'ariyun came to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he was rinsing his mouth. He was even saying the way he was rinsing his teeth. So you can rinse your teeth in front of people. This is one of the benefits of this hadith. So when those people get to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, they told the Prophet sallallahu, Abu Musa told them, "O Messenger of Allah, these people, I don't know them before. They just told me to come with them to you. I didn't know what they want to discuss with you." Shaykh Abdul Muhsin Abbad, in his share of Sunan Nasa'i, he said this is evidence that one should always try to free himself from people's activities. They came to say, look, we want to see the Prophet, and they didn't tell him what for which they want to see the Prophet. So when they got to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, the first thing Abu Musa said, look, they said they want to see you, but they didn't tell me what for which they want to see you, but I have brought them to you. So what they said to the Prophet was that you have been sending people to be leaders and collect zakat, governors collecting zakat and all others, assigning people offices in places. We too, we want to be assigned. You have been electing governors and representatives, so you go and collect so and so. Assign us too. And the Prophet said to them, alayhi salatu wasalam, we do not assign those who seek for the posts. This ummah, we do not assign those who seek for it, who ask for it, we don't assign them. That was the report of the Prophet to them. So this is evidence that the one, alayhi salatu wasalam, so this is evidence that the one who seeks a post, make me governor, in Sharia will not make him governor. The one who say make me VP now, they are all running for VP, that is the one who will not make the VP, if it is Sharia. So the one who posts his poster, President, inshallah, 2011, inshallah, those are the, if it were the Sharia, those are the same people we should not appoint as leaders. And the Prophet said one thing, alayhi salatu wasalam, that every person who calls himself a Democrat should think about. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, فَإِنْ أُعْطِيتَهَا عَنْ مَسْأَلَةٍ وُكِّلْتَ إِلَيْهَا. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, فَإِنْ أُعْطِيتَهَا عَنْ مَسْأَلَةٍ, if you are giving by your asking for it, he said, Ukilta ilayha, you will be subjected to it. That is, it will overwhelm you. The leader, you are the one who asks, it will, the leadership, that office will overwhelm you. Wa in utitaha an ghairi mas'alatin, but if you are given a leadership post when you have not asked, u'inta alayha, Allah will help you over the post. You will be helped. Allah will assist you to rule well. If you didn't ask, but you are giving, okay, take it and rule. And that's why in the Sharia, the person who is a leader does not hand over to another leader. When Uthman ibn Affan was saying that, let me hand over, let them allow me rest, Abdullah ibn Umar said, you'll be setting the precedence. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't hand over to anybody. You are the leader Allah has made you. Remain until whatever happens. So in the Sharia, don't say leader step down. There is no leader step down in our Sharia. So the one who didn't ask, but Allah made it that he's the one that's appointed, u'inta alayha, you'll be helped. But the one who asks, who utiya am mas'alatin ukila ilayha, so you'll be subjected to it. That hadith is in Sahih Bukhari, and that's why Imam al-Hafiz ibn Hajar, when he commented that hadith on that hadith, he says faman kana ذا عقل, anyone who is an intelligent person, لم يتعرض للطلب أصلا, he will not ask in the first place. ومن كان ذا عقل, anyone who is from the reasonable people, لم يتعرض للطلب أصلا, he will not say please give me. He will never ask, because the sensible person knows the importance, the significance of ruling people, and the responsibility such a ruler will be bearing on his neck on the day of Qiyamah. So he will just say, okay, come and give me. He will not do so if he's an intelligent person. The third reason he gave, he says, tazkiyatu nafsi wat-tamaduhu bil-batil. So tazkiyatu nafs, voting processes encourage people to praise themselves. wat-tamaduhu bil-batil, and you'll be praising people even if they are doing the wrong thing. And then people will be contesting the praise. That is, it is when they want to contest election, people will start telling you the money they gave for sadaqah, their zakat, their sadaqah. That month, the Ramadan before election, people used to eat very well. I've heard it before. People were abusing a politician that bebamu kojero na azumi bebamu. I heard it last election. People were saying that even ordinary jero he didn't distribute to us. Now he wants it voting. So he too will do it for this shuhura, not for the sake of Allah. Do politicians do something for the sake of Allah? They are the ones who will answer that question. We don't know. Because if they are doing it for the sake of Allah, they are between Allah and them that knows. We don't know. But what appears to us, وَالْحُكْمُ بِالظَّاهِرِ, is that they hardly do something for the sake of Allah. They want to be done for popularity, to be known, so that people will be shouting them. Even sit for Hajj. People are busy there, Bebani Kujiran Hajj. You didn't give me Hajj seat, so no vote for him. So it will give all the malams. If he knows one malam who is abusing, calling, giving 20 million, the malam keep quiet. Any malam that wants to get money now, come and start showing Namadi, don't vote for him, or he's a bad man. When you call him, give him 5 million now, you keep quiet. So these things, the voting processes have brought about praise, people giving themselves empty praises and contesting who is more educated or who is more, these people start praising themselves, who has more money. I remember in one of the southwestern states, somebody is still contesting now. He lost the election, but he's still contesting in the law court. He was saying that any person who wanted to contest with the incumbent governor at the time should be ready to fill up a trailer load with 1,000 naira notes and put fire on it. That anyone who wants to contest against the existing governor, he should be ready to fill up a trailer with 1,000 naira notes and set fire on it. If he can do that, then he can contest. People shout Allahu Akbar. Allah. So this is the kind of thing you have. And what did Allah say to us subhanahu wa ta'ala? He says, فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ هُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِمَنِ اتَّقَى. Say, do not praise yourself. Do not be saying well of yourself. Allah alone knows the one who is most pious. The fourth one is some of what contains aspects of what we had explained. Munazatu al-amri ahlahu. Munazatu al-amri ahlahu. People will be contesting power with the existing, with the incumbent, leadership. So they'll be, and it is prohibited to contest power with existing leadership in the Sharia. Somebody is a president, don't contest with him. If he says this is what I want, yes, that's what he wants. But the opposing political party, if the government say this is what you say, no, that we want the opposite. In fact, it's a norm. If they don't do so, then it is a problem. That's why they start saying they should cancel the other party, that it is one party system, because there is no opposition. So they call themselves opposition, and the Sharia says don't oppose. They say no, we are the opposition. This opposition, don't mind them. The leader of that opposition can be a malan tying turban wearing big babariga. They can be calling him Sheikh, And he knows that it is wrong to be opposing the existing leadership. But what made him to be doing that to the leadership? Democratic and voting pattern and all this. So that if he does not do it, then there is no voting. There is no election. There is no democratic process. He must oppose him. Even when it is the right thing. Yes, in many cases, you see them opposing something that is right. Say no, they don't want you to give that. Because they are in opposition. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, Man atakum wa amrukum jami'un ala rajulin wahidin. Anyone who comes to you when your affairs is under the control of a single man, yuridu an yashqa asakum. This kind of a person wants to break off your unity, or yufarriqa jama'atakum, or cause disunity in your congregation. He says, faqtuluhu, kill that person. You want to say, no, he wants to scatter that unity the government is being. Kill that person. This hadith was reported by Imam Muslim. Shaykh Safi Rahman Mubakpuri, he has a book he referred to as Al-Ahzab al-Siyasiyya fil Islam, political parties in Islam. He's saying that it's not part of Islam, discussing it. While he was explaining this hadith, he says, وَلَا شَكَّ أَنَّ هَذِهِ الْمُنَازَعَةِ تَتَحَقَّقُ فِي الْإِنْتِخَابَاتِ. There is no doubt that this munaza, this contest of power, comes up during intikhabat, during votings. He says, فَمَا مِنْ حِزْبٍ إِلَّا وَيُحَاوِلُ بِكُلِّ مَا أُوتِيَ مِنَ الْمَوَاهِبِ وَالْقُدْرَاتِ. He said there is no party except that they make efforts with all of what is within their capacity. أَنْ يَتَغَلَّبَ عَلَى السُّلْطَانِ. They make efforts to oppose and bring the leader under them, the opposing party. And both parties, every person is thinking about doing that. He said, they like أَنْ يَتَغَلَّبَ عَلَى السُّلْطَانِ وَيَنْزِعَ الْحُكُومَةَ مِنْ أَيْدِي الْقَائِمِينَ بِهَا. So as to remove authority from those who are in charge of the authority in the first place. إِذَا كَانَتْ مِنَ الْأَحْزَابِ الْمُعَارِضَةِ. If it is from the opposition party. إِذَا كَانَ مِنَ الْأَحْزَابِ الْمُعَارِضَةِ. All his effort is نَزْءُ وُلَاةِ الْأُمُورِ. He said, وَعَلَى الْعَكْسِ مِنْ ذَلِكَ. The same thing applies. The ruling party also, يُحَاوِلُ الْحِزْبُ الْحَاكِمِ. The ruling party also will be making effort. And يُفْلِتَ زِمَامَ الْحُكُومَةِ مِنْ يَدِهِ بِحَالٍ. The other two will be insisting on retaining the power or removing whatever will make the other party to be relevant. So they will be contesting like that. And this contest of power and leadership, the Sharia prohibits it. Those are from the evils of the kind of parties and the voting systems we have. The fifth one, the ulama say يؤدي النظام الانتخابية إلى تولية غير المسلم. This نظام الانتخابية will bring about making other than a Muslim to become the leader. This is what we have seen. This نظام الانتخابية, he said يؤدي النظام الانتخابية إلى تولية غير المسلم or غير المسلم. It brings about other than a Muslim becoming the leader. So you have one party, the other one say we have zoned our president to South. So everybody must vote for South. So a person who is Shaykh Islam too, in his place, he will come and vote for South. Kafir. I will be contesting for him. If you say his name is Joseph, they say, oh, that Joseph will convert it to Yusuf. So from today it's Yusuf. So we will start calling him that it's Yusuf. You say his name is Shegun, they say no, we convert that Shegun to Siraju. So Siraju ne Shegun. And they'll be happy that we brought him there. Mune Musa. How do you defend that one before Allah? Also, the sixth one, they say you addi ila tawliyatil mar'ah. It could also become a situation where you addi ila tawliyatil mar'ah. A woman becomes the president or governor or chief judge or any of those positions of leadership that the Sharia has prohibited a woman should be. That's what they are shouting now. They want to become president. The woman wants to become president. When she became Senate president, she formed with her. Didn't she fumble? The woman, didn't the woman fumble? She's not meant to be there. Yes, men have been fumbling, but it's not a news. But when the woman fumbled, it's a problem. How can she be a mother? How can she be? And the Sharia has prohibited women from leading. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, "Lan yufliha qawmun wallaw amrahum imra'atun." A group of people, lan yuflihu, they won't succeed. Wallaw amrahum imra'atun. They make a woman, or that a woman is the one making leadership upon them, they will not succeed. This hadith is in Bukhari. Those people who are defending, they will tell you that this hadith is weak. And the hadith is the hadith of Abu Bakr, is an authentic hadith. One of the scholars has written a whole book on this hadith, proving that the hadith is authentic because of those people. The seventh one we say we'll mention inshallah is At-Tasfiyah bayna sawti ar-rajli wa sawti al-mar'a wal-mu'mini wal-kafir wal-alim wal-jahil. He said these votes will bring about taswiyah bayna sawti ar-rajl, equality between a man's voice, that is position and opinion, and a woman's position and opinion. And in evidence they are different. So to equalize it, wasawtul mar'a, that is the sort of the voice of a man and woman is equal. He says wal mu'mini wal kafir, believer and kafir, they have equal votes. Wal alim wal jahil. So the sheikh, big sheikh with big turban, who will say, hey, go and vote, he and one man who is just coming from the beer parlor, they are the same. So if that alim is really thinking, he should not support a system that will bring him to be equal to a drunkard. Yeah, in democracy they are equal. Are they different? They are equal. And what did Allah say, subhanahu wa ta'ala? He says, أَفَنَجْعَلُ الْمُتَّقِينَ كَالْفُجَّارِ. Are we going to treat muttaqun like fujjar? But democracy treat them equally. Democracy treats them to be equal. He says, هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. So democracy says, no, there is taswiyah between jahil and alim. The voting. So everybody one vote. Jahil one vote, alim one vote, mu'min one vote, kafir one vote, man one vote, woman one vote. Walaysa zakaru kal unsa. Walirrijali alayhinna daraja. All this one in democracy, no any daraja is one vote. Husband and wife. The husband is in PDP, the wife is in CPC. Allah understand. So these are some of the evils that the scholars have mentioned regarding voting and those procedures. They are not Islamic. To vote is not from the warners of Sharia. There are other reasons. One of you, Sharia said don't snap picture. You tell a photographer, a politician not to snap picture. And from those who will be most severely punished on the day of Qiyamah are those who take pictures. So, and you tell a politician that it's not snap picture. You snap picture, display it everywhere. Some people will say we can snap picture, but we can't display it. So two offenses. They snap and display. Some people say, no, don't display. Like Contd, you say, no, you can put it inside album. Politician is not putting his own inside album. So Contd will change his fatwa again. What should he say now that they should not do with the photographs? So they snap. And many of them will know them, they used to be religious. When they start the politics, they don't become any religious. They are worse. May Allah forgive the late President Yaradua who just died. The wife, when she came in to become the wife of the president, she used to put her head cover upon her head. Later she dropped it. Now, yesterday or the first day, she put it back. Summa ji'naka ala qadarin ya Musa. This qadar, everybody must return to it. She used to put it on her head when she came there. They were abusing her. Hey. She drop it. Like saying back to the shoulder. She dropped it there. Later, wasn't she even using it at all? Day before yesterday, she put it back on her head. If Allah wants everybody to have iman one way, you know also how to do it. He will force us, but He does not want. He wants everything to be ikhtiyar, choice. Choose what you want. Imma shakran, imma kafur. He will not force you to do anything. Everybody will choose what he wants. But He knows what He will do, subhanahu wa ta'ala. If He wants to compel us upon obedience, He knows. She returned the hijab, the head cover, onto her head, looking very serious. But you see sorrow on the face. May Allah give her patience and the fortitude to bear it, because there is no person that it will happen to. We are saying it so that she can take more ease off from it. Yeah, you know, because khuliqal insanu da'ifa. After now she will forget again, but we hope she does not forget and she remains upon this, even gets better, becomes a lesson for her. She can change and become better, inshallah. So she put it back. Those people who are telling her at that time, remove it now, remove it now. Where are they? Did they support her now? So voting and democracy, they are not from Islam. The third issue is, can a Muslim male marry a girl that's not a matured girl? They've been using the word minor, so let's start from there, inshallah. Minor is nothing. It's a legal word. It's not even a free word in the linguistic sense. It's a legal word. Minor, this word. But people have been using it as if it's a common English word. No. And it has no specific meaning in different countries. The meanings will change in every country and in every community. And even regarding the issue that you are talking about, the word minor, its meaning will change. A minor is the age of legal responsibility. The age of legal responsibility. That age is not fixed in any country. It's in all the countries of the world. If you go to US, it may be a one age. Before 2003, there's what they call age of consent in Britain for homosexuality. It was said to be around 13, 14 at the time. It was dropping. The Prime Minister at the time, what's his name? Tony Blair, was campaigning that the age of consent for homosexuality be dropped so that he could get the vote of homosexuals. At the same time, the age of consent for marriage was being increased, while the age of consent for homosexuality was coming down. So age of consent, or minor, is the other way around. The minor is the age of legal responsibility, the age at which legally you can do some things. So age of consent for marriage is different from age of consent for a business. Age of consent for marriage is different from the legal age for signing a business, for owning a property, for doing so many things. That's why I say it's not static. Minor in one country may be minor, will not be minor in another country, or in another community, or regarding another matter. So the word minor has been freely used in the case, but let's bring minor to mean somebody below puberty, so we can use it. Somebody below puberty, somebody below mature, because the puberty is the transit period between being a child and being an adult. That transition period is what is referred to as the age of puberty. And it's also not static. It is different from different human beings in different communities. So that's why you see at age 12 some girls are already matured. Because the end, they say it, that what the index, the final index of puberty, of adulthood for a girl is menstruation. When the girl menstruates, she's no more a minor. She's now a full adult. So she menstruates 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't say we are saying 3. After 3 menstruation she must marry. We are talking about maturity now. We have not come into Sharia at all. Now we are talking about what we see in the life of people regarding the words that have been used. So the last show of end of puberty for a girl is menstruation. Once the girl is menstruating, she's a matured girl. She's mature. She's an adult. If you call her a minor, you are, as far as marriage is concerned, you are insulting the girl. She's not a minor, because she's no more a puberty in the age of. She's not in the pubertal age, as they say. So those are minors. Minor is any person below the age of adulthood. And the same thing for men. In men, they say they grow their hairs in the pubic regions, their voices change, and they like to take individual decisions. They want to be independent, things like this for men and women. So a minor is anybody below the age of puberty. The other question is it permissible to marry a girl like this? I think let's also clear another problem. There's also another misunderstanding, and that is trying to differentiate between marriage and sexual relations. They are two different things. A marriage could be conducted and concluded, but the conjugal relations between the man and the woman may be done at any other time. The woman is matured. But people will understand that once you say marriage, you are saying that, are you going to carry that small girl into your bed? No. But I can put her on my bed, be putting perfume, powder upon her until she grows up. That doesn't also mean conjugal relations. Or marriage, there's a difference between marriage and conjugal relations. How many people have married when their wives are menstruating? Did they cohabit with her? You wait for her until she finishes. So when menstruation disallowed us from cohabiting with a matured girl, then age and maturity could also disallow us from cohabiting with a girl that's not matured. So there is difference between marriage and conjugal relations. So the Sharia supports that a man marries a woman that is a girl that is young, below the age of puberty, such that he will have ability to cohabit with her when she's matured. The Sharia supports it. The Quran supports it. The Prophet's Sunnah supports it. Alayhi salatu wasalam. The actions of the companions support it. And some of the scholars have reported ijma, consensus, regarding the fact that it is established in the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to do that, to marry a girl that is below the age of puberty, so that such that I can cohabit with her when she is matured for that. The first evidence in the Quran, there are two, mention one and go ahead, is in Surah At-Talaq. In it Allah says, وَاللَّائِي يَئِسْنَ مِنَ الْمَحِيضِ مِنْ نِسَائِكُمْ إِنِ ارْتَبْتُمْ فَعِدَّتُهُنَّ ثَلَاثَةُ أَشْهُرٍ وَاللَّائِي لَمْ يَحِضْنَ. It says, وَاللَّائِي يَئِسْنَ مِنَ الْمَحِيضِ. Those who have problems, يَئِسْنَ مِنَ الْمَحِيضِ, they have problems with their haid, min nisaikum, from amongst your women. In irtabtum, when you don't know how to handle this matter, perhaps our menstruation is not regular, or perhaps, there are women like that. So women, their menstruation is not regular. Some of them 2 months they may not menstruate. It's the 3rd month they will menstruate. It's not a problem, that's how they are. Some of them will be menstruating every month. Some of them 20 days, a month will not complete. Sorry, there are doctors here. Am I correct, sir? So that's how it is. In the reality, people have wives. You ask your wives and your sisters. You see, I have asked my wives and my sisters. Sorry. So women have this problem. So this verse is talking about women who have such menstrual problems, instability regarding their menstruation and the cycles, how it occurs. So when there is problem regarding, for a woman who is divorced, she has a period of 3, as is mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, she has a period of 3 periods of purity to determine the freedom in her womb. This is called the period of Iddah. Before she can marry another man. So it says for those women that they have problems with their haid, they can't decide a period of purity. It says for iddatuhunna, for such women their iddah is salasatu ashhurin, 3 months, 3 lunar months. He now said wallahi lam yahidun. The same applies to women who have never menstruated. Who are those who have never menstruated? The minors. They have never menstruated. You could include an adult too, because our Sharia is a wonderful Sharia. It could include an adult if we have an adult that has not also menstruated despite being an adult. there may be medical complexities that an adult would reach adulthood 20, 25 and she's not menstruating. It is possible to find. Just like it is possible to find a 5-year-old girl that's menstruating and giving birth to a child. In 1935, it happened in Peru. A 5-year-old girl gave birth to a baby. In Peru, go to the net, you see it. 5-year-old girl. So that's why we say the age of maturity is not determined. It's varying. So that 5-year-old girl, how did she get pregnant? She married. If she married, which law permitted the marriage? If they are Muslims who say this verse is evidence for that kind of a marriage, whether the husband is older than her or younger than her. So that's why in Sharia there is nothing like early marriage. There is no early marriage in Islam. Marriage is marriage. No age. Marry. No age. No early marriage. No late marriage. Marriage is marriage. When you marry, you want to marry, you marry. If people don't want to marry, and they don't have a pressing need in the Sharia to marry, they I'm not marrying. So even when we be telling such person that there is no rahbaniyah in Islam, you should not think that he's making deen. But if he's not thinking that he's serving, if he is not thinking that he's serving Allah by not marrying, he may remain. Even when we'll be encouraging him to marry, but he will not be sinning anything. We'll be encouraging some brother, please marry now. Bro, every day we do a program, we'll be doing it, talking, making talmih to him that marry. We encourage him. But if he does not marry, there is no sin there. And he's not thinking that he's worshipping Allah by not marrying, because there is no la rahbaniyata fil Islam. So this verse makes us understand. He says, Wallahi lam yahidun, the women who have never menstruated. So if you have women who have never menstruated, or a girl that is below minor, that is below puberty age, that is still a minor, this verse is evident that she can marry. Because it is talking about divorce. And it is not possible to talk about divorce except that there is an early marriage before the divorce. So that's one of the evidences. The other one is in Surah An-Nisa. وَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ أَلَّا تُقْسِطُوا فِي الْيَتَامَى فَانكِحُوا مَا طَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النِّسَاءِ. If you think that you will not be able to do justice as far as marrying a yatima or yatama, the orphans are concerned. An orphanage is not said for any person that is matured. When you say somebody is an orphan, it's before maturity. Once the person matures, is no more orphan. Is no more an orphan. So if the Sharia is telling us that anyone who is able to take care of an orphan, pay the dowry of the orphan, should marry the orphan. But if you are afraid that you may not be able to pay the dowry of an orphan, leave the orphan. He says, فَانْكِحُوا مَا طَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النِّسَاءِ, and then go and marry those grown-up women. But if you think you can pay the enough dowry for the kind of orphan you want to marry, you marry the orphan. In fact, some of the scholars are saying that the one under whose care the orphan is can marry the orphan. What they have differed on is, can he be the nakih, the one marrying, and the one that is being married onto? Some say yes, he can be the one marrying. He can be. It happened to Mughira ibn Shu'bah. He had an orphan under his care. He wanted to marry her. He called his elder brother, marry this girl to me. He said, no, me I come. I said, okay, I marry her to myself. Radiyallahu anhu. Imam al-Shawkani mentioned it in Nail al-Awtar, and he mentioned that it's an authentic narration. Mughira ibn Shu'bah did it. He had many wives. Mughira ibn Shu'bah, we'll come back to that when we discuss. People are saying that Yarima divorced one woman, married now. So what? So what? He didn't want her again, he divorced that one, married another one. That's all. That's his own, that between himself and the woman. That's between himself and the woman. This woman, I don't want her again. Salam alaikum, go. He may not like anything about her, that he cannot go to the Daily Trust and announce that the reason why I divorced that woman was because so and so. But people are behaving as if he has to divorce his wife, he has to come to Daily Trust. Did he go to Daily Trust before he married her? So why does he have to go to Daily Trust to announce her divorce before he divorced her? And they say she just gave birth to a baby. Does Sharia say don't divorce a woman that just gave birth to a baby? Even a woman that is pregnant, the Sharia gives provision. That's why it says wa'ula to hamlin. It says wa'ula to hamlin. Wa'ula to ahmal. An yadana hamlahunna. Those who are pregnant amongst the women, their time for the end of their iddah is when they deliver the baby. It means a woman could be divorced even when she's pregnant. So if Yerima divorced the woman when she's pregnant, whose problem is that? It's permissible. And as long as he divorced the woman, then he still had, that would have meant that he had 3 wives, Abi. And he could marry another one to complete 4. Let that one happen 1 million times. It's not the problem of anybody. It's not the problem of anybody. Let that one happen 1 million times. He found a woman with which he is not pleased in his household. He divorced her and he married another one. He found another he is not pleased with, divorced her, he married another one. Any person who is blaming Yerima is just talking. If you tell him, give us evidence from the Quran and Sunnah why you should blame the man, you will not have any evidence. So you'll be talking about a man, blaming him for what is not blamable. You are enriching him because on the day of Qiyamah you will collect all your rewards. You will be collecting all those abuse you are abusing him. Allah is taking note of them. You collect your rewards and give him, or you collect from his own sins. So why not keep quiet for a matter that does not concern you, and leave the man to live his life? So there are companions who did that. Mughira bin Shu'bah, that we said, is the one regarding whom he went to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said he wanted to marry a woman, and the Prophet said, have you looked at her? He said no. He said, go and look at her. He came to the family of the man. They didn't want him to look at the girl. Came out and said, no, allow him to look at me, if the Prophet has actually ordered him to look at me. So he looked at the girl, he looked at her, and she became so loved. She was the only woman Mughira bin Shu'bah did not divorce from his wives. If not, Mughira bin Shu'bah is talaq. He usually divorces his wives. In that same report in Musnad Imam Ahmad, he said that of the 70 wives he married, she's the only one he didn't divorce. Mughira bin Shu'bah, companion is more pious 1 billion times than 10 times Yerima. Hassan ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib, how many did you have? 90. Such that he proposed to marry a woman. Ali radiallahu anhu heard. He went to tell them, don't marry your daughter to him, we divorce. They say we will marry to him. Grandchild of Prophet. We will marry unless he say he does not want. We will give him. As long as he wants, we will give him. But he didn't keep more than 4 at any point in time. So what is the noise? What is the noise? So how many of them had billion girlfriends outside? The one, there was one kafir that died, Balaige, that they disgraced and killed him. Some people, they deceived themselves, they disturbed themselves, they killed him, they wasted his life. He used to abuse Islam on the pages of Tribune. He hated Islam more than anything. The day that he died, his girlfriend started coming out to show that they are also children. The hypertension killed his wife. So this Bola has been deceiving me. That's how many people have been deceiving their wives. Our religion is not a religion of deception. It's not at all. And that's why it's not a thing. If a man divorces another woman, another man will marry her. Another man will marry her. Zayd ibn al-Haritha, who was called Zayd ibn Muhammad, he was married to Zainab bint Jahsh. When he divorced Zainab bint Jahsh, the Prophet ﷺ, Allah ordered him to marry Zainab. Do you know who Zayd married? Ayman. Ayman was the one that Zayd radiallahu anhu married, who gave birth to Usama ibn Zayd. That's why Usama ibn Zayd is black. Habibur Rasul is black. Usama ibn Zayd is black because the mother Ayman is black. If you read the tarjuma of this woman, she's said to have lost the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So compare her age with the age of Zayd. Compare the age of Ayman, the mother of Usama. Compare her age to the age of Zayd if she's fostered the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So even young boys would marry women that are old. And the same way, and that's why Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, this author is in Sunan of Sa'id ibn Mansur. He married a woman for his son that was carrying a young boy, Teful. Ibn Umar married for the boy, his son. Abdullah ibn Umar married a woman for his son, who was Sagir, a small boy. Ibn Umar married Allah favored us with Islam. There will be no born throwaway in our ummah if we follow stricto sensu the rules of our Sharia. No born throwaway. And no orphan will be there without a husband. About every woman you see will have a place to fix herself up as a wife and as a mother. So, someone called me from Lagos. I told him, I said, please go 10 streets from your house. 10 streets. You will see that on every street there's a between 12 and 15 years old girl that has aborted at least once. On the streets of Lagos, when I say Lagos, I'm not saying VIO. When I say Lagos, go to Shomolu, go to Lagos. Almost every street will have a girl between the age of 10, from 10 to 15 that has aborted at least once. Those same girls, if they are told to marry, they'll say, hey, why are they saying they should marry? Deceiving themselves. And how many women are living under husbands that could be worse than Pharaoh? But they can't go because they'll say they don't want divorce. They'll be suffering. They are not living as human beings and they are not living as wives. Because if it does not work with Mr. A, it could work with Mr. B. And people also carrying dirty things in their heads that they can't marry a woman that is a divorcee or a widow. Who told us that one? Of all the wives of the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, it is only Aisha that he married as a virgin girl. All others were women that are either widows or divorcees. So what is the noise about? So there is nothing in the Sharia that says what Yarima did is wrong. People will just be talking and they will not have justifications for what they are saying. So it's permissible. Aisha herself, radiallahu anha, the Prophet married her when she was 6 years old. 6 years old. And he cohabited with her when she was 9 years old. There is a lie people used to lie about this matter. Lie. They will say that time women used to grow fat. Who told you? When in the case of Banu Mustalik took place between the 6th and 7th year of Hijrah. And in that case, so Aisha was saying, radiallahu anha, that those people who were carrying out Hawdaj, that is something like a building that women go through, stay in. Sometimes they put it on the beast of burden, sometimes some men carry it. They didn't know that she was not inside. She said because she didn't have any weight. That time they didn't used to eat anything. She said, so whether she's there or not, the weight does not make a difference. If she's a fat woman, will it not make difference? Because that would have been 5 years after the cohabitation. Cohabitation with her took place in the 1st year of Hijrah in the month of Shawwal, after the Battle of Badr. So if that was in the 1st year, and Banu Mustalik took place between 6th and 7th year of Hijrah, it means about 5 years after. If people are saying that she was already a big fat girl when the Prophet cohabited with her, it would have meant she would have added 5 years. How many kilograms is it likely that she had added in 5 years? Such that the people would not make a difference whether she's inside the Hawdaj or not. So that falsifies that statement that she was fat, big girl. That time Arabs used to be fat. Arabs were not, they have not discovered oil that time that they are eating big food now, they are fat. We're eating chicken now, they are fat. That time it is dry bread they are eating. She even used to say that sometimes they don't cook in their house now. For days, they will be eating dates, dabino. Is it the woman who is eating dabino and some days she's not cooking that will be fat? What will she eat to get her to be fat? She is like the normal ordinary girl, but she was ready for conjugal relations and the Prophet cohabited with her. But to say she was fat and big like big girls, there is no any evidence for that. The evidence that occurs contradicts that. So don't say if once the girl is good enough, marriage for, there is another lie, VVF. Me, I'm not a doctor, but I think Muslims who are medical doctors could investigate this matter well. But before we start talking about their investigation, whenever there is any matter in any field of study regarding which, after discussing it, it will be coming back to the Sharia. Put the Sharia as constant first. Make that one to be the variable. How many things have people discovered that it was like this, about which they will be querying the Sharia? Later they discover that it has changed in the sciences. Hatta. For how many years were we memorizing Dalton's atomic theory? Later they come and told that they are all lies. And they have not changed. They are still teaching it in chemistry today. They are all lies. The lie that the one who went to Archipelago came back with, Darwin, they have disproved it in all the forms. And they are still teaching the lies to people. Darwinism. He went to Archipelago, he saw crocodile he has never seen before. So he used that to make conclusion for people living in Russia. How fallacious will that conclusion be? So, this is what we have seen. So if there is a statement from the people who have studied VVF that there is early marriage that is causing it, we don't believe. They should research that VVF very well. A woman recently was saying that she has a friend that's about 40 who gave birth and she's having a VVF now. A mother was saying it recently. That she now has another 13-year-old sister that has married and given back, know anything like VVF. So the people talking about VVF should research that VVF very well and know what the implications are, so that before the non-Muslims begin to terrorize us with that. If they don't do it, we that are not medical doctors, we are going to do it. Yes. If you only need to sit down and read. For most of us, that's it. You only need to. Is it not English they'll be speaking there? You will sit down and read it. You know it. You write a paper. They will not be able to disprove it. So, but we think the brothers who are in medicine could do that favor. Take a week and research this so-called VVF from what has been written. Not, you may not even be able. You need to go and start seeing patients. From what has been written so far, go to the literatures and search. Give us paper, 7 pages, 10 pages, and let's see what the VVF is. So Allah, Aisha radiallahu anha didn't have VVF, and many women have married children. Many women have been married before that time. They didn't have any VVF. So that even if they are saying VVF today, that's belied the VVF. Allahu alam. So these are a few things about all these matters that we have mentioned. 3 of them actually. The hadith of al-iman and the issue of intikhab, voting, and the matters that are connected to marrying a little girl. Many scholars have mentioned there is ijma. Imam Ibn al-Munzir in his book Al-Ijma, he said there is ijma, the Muslim can do that. Imam al-Shawkani mentioned that there is ijma. Imam Hafiz ibn Hajar mentioned that there is ijma in Fathul Bari, that even if that girl is a small girl. One of the companions did that. I think this case is very important. We'll close up with it. Qudama ibn Mas'un is one of the Prophet's companions. Radiyallahu anhu. He was on the deathbed. Zubair ibn Awwam came to greet him. He was talking to him. He was ill. So there and then they came to tell Zubair ibn Awwam that his wife had given birth to a baby. Right on the bed. Qudama ibn Mazun said, Zawijniha. This case is in Sunan Sa'id ibn Mansur and it's authentic. He says, Zawijniha, marry her to me. The dying person is saying to the person, that's your daughter that they have not just given birth today. Marry her to me. The dying man, radiyallahu anhu. So he said, I should marry my daughter to you, and you are in this state? He said, yes. He said, if I live, he will be my wife, and if I die, she will inherit me. If I live, I have a wife. If I die, she has inheritance. It's authentic. A day-old girl, one day, the day they gave birth to her, the ulama say, فَزَوَّجَهَا إِيَّاهُ. So he married her to him. Zubair ibn Awwam, one of those who've been told that he will enter Al-Jannah. So let people who want to shout be shouting, and let people who want to talk be talking. People have been talking before Yerima was born, and people have been shouting before Yerima was born. So, but let it be upon haqq. And he too, let him be steadfast. Let him not talk forward and talk backwards. Let him be convinced about what he has done. And let the people stop shouting about these things. It is from our own religion. They say there is a child rights bill. The child rights bill is un-Islamic. And the constitution gives freedom for religious practices. So there is contradiction there too. It's not only this one, there are other things. Khitan, circumcision, female circumcision. They have also banned it. It's part of that child rights bill. I saw the draft in 10 years ago before it was brought in 2002. I saw the draft of this child rights bill that time. People were talking about, people didn't listen. The part of it is that a girl should not be circumcised, and it is from the sunnah, at least mustahab. There are scholars who say it is wajib, like Ibn Taymiyyah alayhi rahmatullah and Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah. They say it's obligatory. At least mustahab. There is a law against it now. There is a law against khitan. So where are we going to? Everything in the religion saying, let's not worry. So what will remain? One day they will ban salat too. Or if they don't ban the salat, they ban nawafil. Once you finish any salat, anybody who stand up again is unconstitutional. Because that's how it will be going gradually. And the Muslims will be saying, let's be managing. This is the same democracy they are talking about. So the democracy is not, it does not care about Muslims. What it cares about is what? Islam. The target of democracy is Islam, not Muslims. Muslims are just there. But if it succeeds in finishing Islam, the Muslims are useless people. They don't care. They don't care because the Muslims without Islam, they are nothing. They are not different from kuffar now. So that's why the Muslims must support, protect Islam, fight, support it, and make sure that they are the one that Allah has used. And speak for it, defend it. Don't be ashamed of it. There is nothing to be ashamed in Islam. Our religion says it. There are worse things. Do you know Mary in the Catholic Encyclopedia? Mary, the mother of Jesus, alayha salatu wassalam, Maryam, they say in the Catholic Encyclopedia that she got married to Joseph the carpenter when she was 13 years old. And that time Joseph was over 80. This carpenter, Joseph the carpenter. They are the ones who know that he's carpenter. So Mary, 13. Mary, the mother of Jesus. In the Catholic Encyclopedia, it's mentioned. You can build up upon all these things if you go to the internet. You see more things. So we don't need. There is nothing to be ashamed of in our religion. We need to be happy and be proud about it. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Perhaps there will be a few questions, inshallah. We'll try to discuss. Alaykum salam wa rahmatullah. They say we should talk about the dowry, $100,000 that he gave. That's equivalent to about 15 million. At least as at last week, 15 million naira. But I read in the paper that it's now 148. If it is 148, it is 14.8 million. So there is no much difference. Well, that's nothing. The dowry of a woman could be anything the woman asks and the man is able to give. No limitation. If I'm not forgetting, there was a time we did a work about 5 or 6 years ago. We tried to look for the reports of the dowries, the marriage gifts of the Prophet to his wives. We found that one of them was Maimuna was giving about 500 uqiyas or something. By our calculation 5 years ago, it would be around 15 to 20 million naira. It was given by the Najashi to her. It's a lot of money. And if you now bring it down and calculate with other wives, you can do that. If you go to Al-Mahar under the Bab al-Mahar, in Nailul Awtar, Imam Shawkani mentioned about 4 or 5 of the wives of the prophets. They are muhur, they collected from the prophet. You can calculate it. There is no one that is less than 1 million naira there. So you give them based on what he had. Based on what he had, you give. His own daughter, when she married, what did Ali Radhiallahu anhu give her? And he, alayhi salatu wasalam, did a marriage. For the walima, he said people should bring their food. The marriage of Sophia. He said people, he told Anas, Radhiallahu anhu, go and tell them people should come with their food. Oh. If a brother is marrying today and he said people, brothers, come with your food. Oh. People say, if you know that you can't marry, why did you marry? And in the marriage of Zainab bint Jahsh, for 3 days they were eating. When they eat and eat, they finish. The prophet said, "Do food still remain?" Say, "Yes, the food still remains." Who called them to come? And I say, "I go and say, hey, there's food." Oh, people still come. 3 days. So it is as the condition allows. Don't forget, this man who is giving $100,000. $100,000 is nothing to him. So why are you crying? Some people say no, you should distribute it among poor people. Who told you that one? Where is that one? Who said that one that you should distribute? Is it not sadaqah? What you give to your wife, is it not sadaqah? Yes, the food that you put into the mouth of your wife, is it not sadaqah? Some of those people spend more than $100,000 for girlfriends. These people talking, they spend. Someone told me he is the son of one of the richest people in this country. He didn't tell somebody who told me. He told me that some of them, if they don't have girlfriends, it's as if they don't have money. He said, so they used to keep girlfriends. You don't understand. That if they don't have girlfriends, it's like you don't have money. What you have to prove to show that you have money is to have girlfriends in their circles. These people don't spend thousands for girls, so don't even spend naira. They give them pound sterling and euros. They are big boys. Some of them, even the senators, all these people, they have girlfriends. So they do anything with them. So talk about what a man gives to a woman he wants to marry. Let it be $1 million. As long as he's able to afford it, and it's what the woman has asked for, and he can afford it, without stealing it or any of those, he has money. It's okay. There is nothing that says this. I learned that people wrote an article that in a country people are suffering. So he's the one who should bring his money to put road from Kaduna to do double way from Abuja to Lokoja. Because people are suffering on the road. No, there is no government in Nigeria. There is no Yaradua there now, Jonathan. He does not have that responsibility. Allah didn't ask him to do that one. It's not in his jurisdiction. If he does it, he will get the reward. But it's not under what you need to blame him for that. Instead of marrying a girl for $100,000, bring the $100,000. Let us put quota on Kinkino roads. That in Kinkino there is no quota there. Yerima should bring his $100,000 to put. There is nothing like that. Allahu Akbar. Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Just go on.
I don't know which advice to give to some Muslims are saying, even before the death of the president, that Obasanjo thought because he knew that perhaps he might die in the future. And even when he has died, they are saying that he has achieved his aims and objectives. I don't know which kind of advice you give to such Muslims or the implications that are there in this kind of statement. And then secondly, some malams, in trying to encourage students to learn Arabic, they will now say that because the angels in the grave, they ask with Arabic language. I don't know if there's any athar or any reports for that the questions in the grave are asked
in Arabic. Well, let's start from the second question. That's what appears, as Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Usaymin said in his Sharh Aqidat al-Wasitiyah. What appears is that it will be in Arabic. But the responses are not just your own responses. They are responses that Allah will enable you to say. So even if the person does not know Arabic, it does not mean that he will not be able to say it in this grave. It does not mean so. Just like when the Dajjal comes out, it will be written on his forehead, Kafir. And the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, that every Qari'un and Gairu Qari'in will be able to read it. Every person who is able to read and who is not able to read will be able to read that one. So the same thing applies. And in fact, the one in the grave is more, because it's more than an ordinary event. There are extraordinary events. So the Arabiya that the person needs in his grave, Allah will teach him. Allah will teach him. That's what he says. They say, يُثَبِّتُ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِالْقَوْلِ الثَّابِتِ. He would make them, you understand, be firm with that qawl al-thabit for those responses they will be, regarding which they will be asked in the grave. Allahu A'lam. Those who are saying that he has achieved his aim, he has not achieved his aim, what I'll advise is that we should avoid all these kind of discussions. In most of the places and most of the times, you will not be able to convince these people otherwise. And there is no profit in engaging in discussion when the person to whom you are talking, you can't convince him. Not because you don't have the explanations and the evidences, but because he's not the listening type. If he's the listening type, maybe his intellect is too lowly to be able to understand this. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal told us that at the beginning of Usul al-Sunnah. There are some of these matters, the people's intelligence are too lowly to understand. So just leave the man. Let that one just believe those things. If he does not believe, just leave him. So you should not take it like it's a responsibility that you have to make everybody understand that it is not Obasanjo that kills somebody. No. So in alayka illa al-balag. So and during the balag, to hadith nas ala qadari ukuli. So when you even do the balag, you do the tabligh, you discuss with the people on the level of their intelligence. And you leave the rest. Ad-dayta ma alayka. You would have fulfilled what is upon you to fulfill. If that person is the kind of a person that will listen. If he's not the kind of person that will listen, a rod is sufficient. Just leave the person, baby. Allahu A'lam. Alaykum salam. Yes, it is wrong for the Muslim to vote in the Sharia and partake in partisan politics because of all these evils that has been described. But the fact is that there are even many other matters that is wrong for Muslims to do. You still see Muslims doing it. Many Muslims fornicate and commit adultery and all this when they know that it's wrong. But the problem with this one is that many people don't know that it is wrong and they are doing it. So they will not be able to change it. In cases of zina and all that, they know that it's wrong and they are doing it. This one, they think that it's right. So that's why the onus is upon us to explain that, oh, it's also wrong, but even if you are doing it, know that it is wrong. And know that you need to change it. So if you don't know that it's wrong and you need to change it, you may even be thinking that you are worshipping Allah with it. Well, this thing we are doing, may Allah accept the act of ibadah. People say Amen. You don't know that it's wrong. So there is the need to explain to the people to know that it is wrong. Explain to know that it is wrong. They will still do it, but tell them it's wrong. So if you know it's wrong, you stop it. I know it's wrong, you stop it. The Muslims know that it's wrong, we stop it. We can speak up one day and say, no, we are not doing this one. They say, okay, how are we going to bring leaders? We have leaders who are Muslims amongst the leaders in this country, who when they speak, nobody can say they have not spoken for Muslims. There are people like that. Most of the sultans, most of the emirs, umara in the places are like this, but people just don't want to give them that respect. The sultan of Sokoto, if he says, do this, many Muslims will do it. They will agree that he's the leader of the Muslims. It is the same partisan politics that will destroy that unity. Some people say, no, we don't agree. Why? Because it's not in their party or for one of these partisan reasons. So they further bifurcate the unity of the Muslims. So that is the reason why it is important that fundamentally we understand that it's wrong. Whether people are doing it or wrong or not doing it, it does not justify the wrongness. Allahu Alam. But the worst thing is that people don't know that it's wrong and they are doing it. In fact, people think that it's obligatory. So people will tell you that it's wajib, you must vote. Oh, if you don't vote, Allah will punish you. Allah will do so. Allahu Alam. Alaykum salam. To be the last question, inshallah.
We believe that someday the solar will be banned or other tenants will be there. It has happened in communist Russia, it has happened in Turkey and other places. Taking into cognizance Nigerian situation, is it right to discourage our politicians completely or to relinquish power to the kuffar?
It's not possible that power is relinquished. It's not possible, particularly in an entity like Nigeria. The day Muslims say we are not doing democracy again, the Muslims, if we can do that, because your question is also based on that, you will not be talking about relinquishing power to non-Muslims without having in mind that there is a Muslim consensus. Am I correct? So if there is a Muslim consensus that we don't want democracy again, the alternative is not to give it to non-Muslims, I tell you. And it will not happen. If the Muslims say, we don't want this voting democracy again, they will start asking you, so what do you want? So the alternative will not be that, oh yeah, kuffar. When even in democracy, Muslims don't want them to be leaders. That is a fact. Is it when now we can speak with a single voice that will now relinquish power to them? So it is not, there is no counterfact in that. You can't have a counterfact of that. The fact is that it's not possible that there is a relinquish, there is the power being relinquished to the non-Muslims. You can't counterfact that. Meaning that it's not possible. The question is not possible.
So today,
do you understand what I mean by the question? It's not possible.
Understood. Today, democracy are getting deep into the fabric of the society.
Yes.
Most nations of the Muslims have embraced democracy. And it is the bounding duty of the Muslim to take over the hem of affairs.
No.
Not to be passive, but to be active. How do we get to that hem?
What is the proof that we should be active and not be passive? What is the evidence for it? Because being active in the balance of politics means seeking the office itself and fighting to bring the power. That's it. That's what it means. So what really we need to do is, most times we like to start the building from the ceiling rather than from the foundations. The first thing the Muslims need is to know what our religion is. And the result of this, let's manage it kind of attitude, we can't leave it kind of, that's what has seen all those people you are seeing in the Senate and all those people there today who will speak against things that are basically Islam. Because they don't know anything about Islam. And they think that they must contest in the whatever. So they go there and they become anti-Islam. Hate Islam, fight anything Islam, they don't want to hear it. They say, Ustaz, you have come with Islam again, please, we don't want to hear it. So the foundation is that the Muslims should come back to our foundations. These things we are talking, Aqidah, issues of belief, issues of Salat, issues of this. And let me tell you, these people will consider these issues as trivial issues. A senator, please, let's look at it. Some people here are close to some of those people. Find out if any of them has a city where he's listening to Kitabu Tawheed. Kitabu Tawheed. Or Bulugul Maram. Oh, any wazi, they don't have time for that one. It is how to be in one committee in the Senate or the other. So the foundation from where we have to start all over again is from these things. Let's know who Allah is. What are the rights of the messenger upon us? What are the requirements of the Sharia to be a Muslim? The leader will emerge. There is no verse of the Quran or Hadith where you see talking about leadership except that it is Allah saying that I will give you leader. There is nowhere it says Muslims should actively go and start seeking leadership. It says wa'adallahu allazina amanu. They used to quote this verse. Wa'adallahu allazina amanu minkum wa amilu salihat. La yastakhlifannahum. It says la yastakhlif. I will make them leaders on the earth. It says allazina amanu wa amilu salihat. Those who believe and act righteously. Allah said I will make them. He says, Summa ja'alnakum ala shari'atin min al-amr. He says, Fattabi ja'alnakum ala shari'atin. He says, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنْهُمْ أَئِمَّةً يَهْدُونَ بِأَمْرِنَا لَمَّا صَبَرُوا. He says, جَعَلْنَاهُمْ أَئِمَّةً. We made them leaders. Even Bani Israel, you see there is nowhere they are talking about it. Allah said, we make them leaders. Allah is the one who makes a leader, Akhil Karim. In Nigeria today, you will know that one. A man was being put in the grave, the other one was laughing, hey, thank God, no. One woman was crying, my husband is dead. The other one was shouting, my husband has become president. Is that not sufficient that Allah is one, is Malik al-Mulk? Tu'til mulka man tasha, wa tanzil mulka mimman tasha, tu'izzu man tasha, tuzillu man tasha, biyadika al-khair, biyadika al-khair, alif wal lam, lil-istighraq. All good things is in the hands of Allah. So let Muslims seek leadership 1,000,000 times. Allah is one who makes a leader. So our duties is to know our Islam, practice our Islam. How the leadership will come, Allah knows it at the time it will occur. You will see it there. The Prophet ﷺ didn't tell anybody that Abu Bakr should be the Khalifa after him. This is what is most authentic from the scholars of Sunnah. But at the time, didn't Abu Bakr emerge? Umar radiallahu anhu, he did not say, oh, Usman should be the Khalifa after me. But at the time, didn't Usman emerge? Usman didn't say, oh, Ali should be the Khalifa after me. But at the time, didn't Ali emerge? Ali didn't say, oh, Hassan should be the Khalifa after me. But at the time, didn't Hassan emerge? When Hassan became the Amir, he said, oh, Muawiyah, I give you the authority. After 6 months, Muawiyah became the Amir. So Allah is in charge of these affairs. They are from the affairs that are strictly in the hands of Allah. He decides who gets what, when. But people used to disturb themselves with what is not basic. They leave the things that are basic. So the basic foundation, basic duty of the Muslims today is how they, individuals, we know what Islam requires of them. From the matters of belief, from the matters of worship, from their dealings with people, and all of that. Allah will give them a leader that will be like them and will rule them with justice. The last question, inshallah.
Issue of preaching over the years, over the issue of Sharia. And it was under a democratic setting that Sharia was successfully launched in some states.
It was not successful.
Can we justify the Sharia?
It was not successful. You are still building your question on a basis that me, I don't agree. Look for another word. Maybe you remove the successful there.
Well, scholars have not been able to actually get.
You have not recoined the question.
It was the failure.
If you didn't say it was a failure, me, I will tell it was a failure, because the man who launched it told me that it was a failure. He said there were not enough scholarly background and spread of true Islam before he launched what he launched. But he had good intentions. He will be rewarded for his intentions. But the fact still goes back to what we are saying, that the foundation of anything is individuals, Muslims. Who are you as a Muslim? Who are you? Who am I? Who is she? Who is he? It is from this who, she, he, I, that Allah will bring a leader amongst us. Sharia is not launched. They don't launch Sharia. They don't launch Sharia. Somebody is shouting where they are launching Sharia. No, he shaved his beard. Which Sharia is he launching? What about that Sharia of keeping the beard? He shouted, no, look at his beard, he shaved it. He says he's launching Sharia. Is he launching Sharia? You leave the Sharia place, his wife say, oh, Afan says, a boxer. Say, we just come from the place we went to launch Sharia. Is he not really launching Sharia? And this is what is most common amongst the Muslims. People want government, they want governance without having individuals who will be government. People want good governance without good individuals. It was said that Ma'mun was challenged by someone and said, you are leading us like this. You didn't see Umar, you didn't see Usman, you didn't see Ali. They did well. You are really unjust. He said, are you like the people that Umar ruled over? You want me to be like Umar? Uthman, Ali, are you like the people that Umar ruled? If you are like the people that Umar ruled, then I will be like Umar. If you are like the people that Umar ruled, I will be like Umar. The question is, the people that Umar ruled, were they the first that came, or Umar came first and then the people? The people that Umar ruled, from amongst whom Umar was taken, was it that Umar came as the Khalifa and then created the people, or the people were there, Umar only emerged from amongst them? He emerged. But the people want it the other way around. They want Umar first, then the Umar carry whip and start beating people to be like him. It's a fundamental problem. Be Umar first. One of those you Umars will be the leader that will be Umar too. People don't want to be Umar, they want Umar's leadership. It does not have a counterfact. Counterfact, I always say it. That is thinking the other way around. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Abu Maryam. So no more disturbance on situation.